network TV public attitudes, believability of news outlets, network news outlets. And here we have going from 96 down to 2006, those are the three networks. The believability goes from about 30% in 96 down to about 20% in 2008. In other words, people don't believe the garbage that the network news outlets are shoveling at them, and it's dropping precipitously every year. All three networks. Do you believe what they say? No. I wonder why that is. Now here's another shot, same website, State of the News Media 2007.
It would be 5 networks, thank you.
Yeah.
Fox and CNN.
Fox, don't forget about Fox and CNN. They'd be going in the same thing. This is the State of the News Media 2007. This is evening news viewerships from all networks. Evening news viewerships. There you have 1980, you got over about 52 million people watching the evening news, dropping precipitously every year. And now, even though the population has gone way up since 1980, about 25 million people or so are watching the news. Their viewership has plummeted and continues to plummet. And the reason, ladies and gentlemen, is because people are catching on, okay? People are catching on to the fact that the mainstream media is a giant lie machine. And just for fun, let me just illustrate one of the most egregious lies that they got caught with back in the 90s. This was NBC. They did a report on General Motors pickup trucks and how they would explode on impact. Watch this clip from a video we have called Behind the Big News. Go ahead and play this little NBC boo-boo, y'all.
The mainstream news media. While Americans rely on it daily for the latest reports on world and domestic events, a recent study conducted by the Cronkite School of Journalism indicates that nearly 67% of Americans don't trust major media for accurate reporting. Ask Americans specifically why they distrust the media, and the answers are generally vague. After all, reports of news media abuses aren't normally found on the front page or the nightly news. Nonetheless, they do exist. Dateline NBC, a primetime news program, airs a story in 1992 entitled Waiting to Explode. The story includes footage demonstrating that a line of trucks produced by General Motors readily explode on impact.
To see for ourselves what might happen in a side impact crash, Dateline NBC hired the Institute for Safety Analysis to conduct crash demonstrations. Unlike GM tests, the fuel tanks were filled with real gasoline. Look what happened. At impact, a small hole was punctured in the tank. According to our experts, the pressure of the collision and the crushing of the gas tank forced gasoline to spew from the gas cap. The fuel then erupted into flames when ignited by the impacting car's headlight.
After the program airs, one of the firemen at the taping of the crash contacts GM. The conversation inspires a full-scale investigation. 3 months later, NBC is forced to reveal their role in fabricating the news.
NBC's contractor did put incendiary devices under the trucks to ensure that there would be a fire if gasoline were released from the truck's gas tank.
We said the crash, quote, forced gasoline to spew from the fuel cap, end quote. GM says since the gas cap was the wrong cap for the GM filler tube, and because the gas tank was overfilled, the cap came off when the impact occurred.
We agree with GM that we should have told our viewers about these devices.
The Dateline reporter, however, said, quote, at impact, a small hole was punctured in the tank, unquote. GM has now x-rayed that tank and found no hole.
We acknowledge the placing of the incendiary devices under the truck was a bad idea from start to finish.
That's our new policy, and we'll be right back.
After the 1995 bombing.
There. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. They planted a bomb underneath the truck. They deliberately put the wrong fuel cap on the gas tank, and they lied about a hole. They made the whole thing up. They got caught. This is the most juicy example. There's a lot more examples of that, but this, I guess, is the funniest one. They blew up a General Motors truck to prove a point which wasn't even valid. Okay, the major news media is a bunch of crooks. They're a bunch of liars. Okay, now let's